Ms. Gardino, why are you seeking to evict Ms. Stevens?
I am seeking to evict her because she had been there for 2 years without paying rent. And she had been using the property, subleasing the property. It's like 1 acre. She was going to just use a quarter of an acre for 4 months. And she had been there doing, I don't know, bringing a lot of different vehicles and bringing some friends, and the friends bringing also vehicles to my property. I cannot
Ms.
control.
Gardino, if you want to go with a non-payment, that'll get you there faster. Okay.
Okay,
Do you have a
yes.
written lease?
This case opens with a jaw-dropping claim. Nearly 20 months of rent, allegedly unpaid, under a verbal agreement. No written lease, no subsidy, and a landlord who says she's lost control of her own property. Right away, this courtroom is balancing credibility, documentation, and fairness. Was this a temporary favor that spiraled out of control, or a tenant exploiting the lack of paperwork? And more importantly, how much can a landlord actually recover when the agreement was never put in writing? Stick with this case, because the judge's ruling may surprise you on. It sets the tone for everything that follows.
With Ms. Stevens?
It was a verbal agreement.
Okay, so no written lease.
No,
You have an
no,
oral
no.
lease. Okay. Under
Yes.
your oral agreement with the defendant, does the defendant have to pay you rent?
Yes,
And how much rent?
$200 a month. It was a temporary agreement.
And did you receive any subsidy from the government towards the $200?
No,
Okay. What months has Ms. Stevens not paid?
after the after the last 20 months.
It's been 20 months and she's never paid?
Yes,
Okay. When did you give her the notice to vacate?
I saw her and I told her verbally in November 11, and then I gave her the notice. I placed it on the premises. This notice.
When was that?
This was on December 1st.
Okay. All right. I see that. And you filed it on the 5th. All right. Does your property fall under the Federal CARES Act?
No,
Okay. And you provided us with a military affidavit indicating that Stevens is not deployed or currently on active duty. I see that.
no, no.
We did receive back the return of service. I'm just going to share my screen. This is for purposes of letting people see that we check these things. So I can see that for this case, cost 251743 for Annie Stevens, Deputy Vestal with Constable Precinct 3, effected service by attaching a copy to the front door and mailing one of the same address. And that was returned back to the court.
Yes.
Here's where the law quietly steps in and draws a hard line. Even though the landlord claims 20 months of unpaid rent, eviction court is not designed to act as a full debt collection tool. The judge is focused on possession first, not punishing past behavior. Without a written lease and without earlier legal action, the court limits recovery to the most recent months. This is a critical lesson. Eviction courts move fast, but they move narrowly. Viewers, do you think this protects tenants from overwhelming judgments, or does it unfairly penalize landlords who try to be patient?
Ms. Garduno, the court would be, I'm not comfortable awarding the last 20 months. Certainly you could seek that in some other type of action if you like, but you gave her notice in December that she had been unpaid in the rent.
I was in court here in, I believe, in May, and she was here too, but because I didn't have this paper, it was more expensive appeal. I just want her to go. It's just, I cannot use my property.
All right. I would award you $400 for November and December, plus your cost of court on appeal. I would also set that at $200. Ms. Garduno, if neither you or Ms. Stevens makes any appeal to that decision, after 5 days pass, you can contact the court for a writ of possession. I'll also just inform you that if you wish to pursue additional damages, let's say I've only given you 2 months of back rent. If you wanted to pursue Ms. Stevens for additional rent, you still have an opportunity to do that. It may be that you're within what's called a statute of limitations for a breach of contract. Okay. But today I've awarded you possession along with the most 2 recent months of rent and your
That's
cost of court. Okay, Ms. Garduno?
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you very much then. You're all
Thank you.
excused. Have a good morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Sherman, why is this eviction filed?
Eviction filed because we haven't received a payment since September.
Okay, non-payment. How much is the monthly rent?
15, excuse me, 1560.
Is there any subsidy paid by the government?
No, Your Honor.
All right. And what months have remained unpaid?
September, October, November, and we're doing a prorate of December. That'll leave us at 5636 in total.
All right. Is this property under the CARES Act?
During this time, yes.
Was 30 days provided?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when was that given?
10/20.
Right. Good morning, Ms. Solid.
Good morning, Your Honor. How are you?
Oh, I know. Looking forward to seeing family next week.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. So Mr. Sherman says this case is about a financial situation, which I understand is no fun. And certainly at the holidays, it's really no fun.
Yeah.
One thing he told me is that the flat monthly lease, the rent, just the rent, is $1,560. Is
Yes,
that the
ma'am.
correct monthly rent?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then he says that it's been unpaid since September. Is that also correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, Ms. Solid, I understand sometimes. I have no doubt the circumstance is not as you would wish it to be, but with that information, the landlord wins their case today. Certainly, I can answer any questions for you. I will give you definitive information about a timeline, but immediately, is there anything you already know that you want to ask me or questions that you have?
So I have never been through this type of situation before, and unfortunately, in my case, I'm not like, personally not wanting to pay my rent. Like I'm not
Sure.
that type of person. I just lost my job and I haven't had any luck. I just started a new job, well, 2 new jobs like a couple of weeks ago. So I'm just waiting for, money to come in to catch back up.
This moment hits differently. The tenant isn't denying the debt, she's explaining the collapse behind it. Job loss, delayed income, and no rental assistance during the holidays. But legally, intent doesn't cancel obligation. Eviction court isn't weighing character. It's weighing contracts and payments. The judge acknowledges the hardship, explains every option clearly, but still rules for the landlord. This is one of the toughest realities of housing law. Empathy can exist in the room, but it doesn't override unpaid rent. If you were the judge here, would you rule any differently?
Catch back up.
I didn't have any, help with rental insurance. I didn't have any luck with them. I mean, they fill up really, really fast. So I guess moving forward, what would be my next step? So I'm not out on the streets. I'm not homeless.
All right, Miss Allen, I can give you some information. And then what I always say is I can't advise you, right? What I tell you is say, here's a map and there's a lot of paths on it. And then you go and kind of decide which of those is best in your particular situation, right? But I
Yes,
can
ma'am.
give you some definitive information that may help you decide kind of what to do next.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so today for both parties, Mr. Sherman and Ms. Solid, the judgment will be for the plaintiff. The amount awarded will be for $5,636. That's September, October, and November, all 3 months at full rate. And then December, it's through 19 days. So it's a prorated amount.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Solid, the only additional thing you'll see added by the court will be the cost of court that it costs the plaintiff to file the case. Typically, that's about $130 and some change. Now, Ms. Solid, both you and Mr. Sherman or anyone on behalf of the plaintiff can appeal the decision. The appeal bond that I'm required by law to set, I would determine to be twice the monthly rent. So the appeal bond is $3,120. If neither party does anything, after 5 days, beginning tomorrow is day 1,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
judgment becomes final. And on day 6 is the soonest legally the landlord can come to me and say, Judge, I'd like a writ of possession because my tenant has not moved and I want to move them out.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
as soon as that can happen, right?
Oh, I completely understand that part.
I'm just saying, but that's it. Now the landlord
Okay.
has up to 60 days to do that. So though they can do it on day 6, they do not have to. They can wait till day 10, till day 20, till 8 to day 59 to come and get a writ of possession from the court, right? So this is where
Okay.
I hear, and this is just anecdotally, Ms. Solid, I hear that talking to the landlord, sometimes parties have a better sense of when that's going to happen.
Mhm.
And also, Ms. Solid, in the next 5 days, in addition to being able to appeal, you may wish to reach out to any of those legal aid providers. Again, I understand it's the holidays. I know they have a lot of volume of need in those, but I have heard from people at these dockets that after they've been evicted, and that's what's happened today, sometimes you get a bit more of a priority. So they may be able to help you faster because your situation is now at the end as opposed to, I think it may be coming. So just a bit different. Okay.
Okay.
And then one last thing I'll highlight for you, Ms. Solid, and really this is for everyone listening. Because it's a non-payment case, I told you there's an appeal bond of $3,120.
Mhm.
If you wanted to appeal, and this is true for everyone, but you can't afford the appeal bond, you may be able to appeal for free doing what's called an affidavit of inability. All right. But even if you appeal for free, if you want to remain in the house or in the apartment, you have to pay full rent of $1,560. You pay that to the court. We give you a very firm deadline for that to happen. Okay. So just keep that in mind that you can appeal for free, but if you want to keep living there, the rent has to come in and you pay that to the court, and then we hold that and we give it to the landlord.
Okay. And what was that amount again?
The appeal bond is $3,120.
Right. Okay. So I would
Based on,
pay that if I want to.
if you want to appeal, you have to pay appeal bond or file an affidavit of inability. And then after you post a bond, we give you 5 days to bring the rent to us. If you don't bring the rent, your case goes to another court, but the landlord still gets a writ of possession and can make you move out.
Right. Okay.
All right. So often people are wanting to stay in possession. And I just point out that that's going to require money.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Ms. Solid, we will email you a copy of the order. We send that to both parties. We also mail it through the physical mail, but it's the holidays, so I would want to get to you sooner, hence email.
Yes.
All right, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
Very good luck to you. Mr. Sherman, thank you. If that's your only matter, all parties are excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Ms. Solid, good luck with your new positions. I'm glad you're able to find some work.
Thank you so much. You have a
Thank
good
you
day.
all. Good luck, everyone. All parties to that are excused. Ms. Weiss, why was this eviction filed?
Non-payment of rent, Your Honor.
How much is the monthly rent?
Monthly rent is $1,275.
Any subsidy?
No, not that I saw.
All right. And then what months?
November is a partial payment for $971.11, and then I prorated December for $781.45 for a total of $1,752.56.
Okay, Ms. Weiss, in November, what did she still owe?
November $971.11.
Okay, you said credit for 971. That's why I was a
Oh,
little
I'm
confused.
sorry.
No, it's okay. That's the balance remaining. So she made partial payment, but 971 is outstanding,
Yes, Your Honor.
plus then your prorate in December, and that gets you to 1752. Okay,
Yes, Your Honor.
okay. And then was this a CARES property?
No, not that I saw.
And then how about notice to vacate?
Notice to vacate was 3 days, given on 11/14, hand delivered.
Okay. Good morning, Ms. Edwards.
Morning.
Ms. Weiss is here. She represents a company called Nationwide, who's often hired by the landlord to represent them in court. So if you have no idea, you've never heard her name, never seen her, I always point that out because it's like,
Okay.
who's this, right? But that's why she's here. So Ms. Weiss said that the landlord reported the case as a financial situation, which I know is no fun. We appreciate you coming. Is it correct that under the lease, the flat monthly rent is $1,275?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And then Ms. Weiss said that a partial payment was made in November, but there's a balance outstanding of 971, and then the December rent has not been paid. Is that also correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Edwards, I appreciate that. With that information, the landlord wins the case today. As I've mentioned to the person before, if you have any questions, this is where I want to give you kind of timeline, and certainly for your case, I'll tell you that the bond amount would be equal to 1 month rent. It would just be $1,275.
Okay.
That would be the appeal bond. The judgment would be $1,752. The only thing added to that would be the cost of court.
Okay.
If you take no action in the appeals period, it becomes final. That's when the landlord can receive a writ of possession. They can do that on day 6. They have up to 60 days to do that. So,
Okay.
any questions that I can answer for you?
Well, I guess that's valuable information. I was a bit confused when I was trying to work with the leasing office about the expectations of me being asked to leave the unit. I do have current plans that I'm facilitating for me to get to a next step and have alternative housing options. But with the holidays and everything, it sounds like, from what I'm understanding, I just wanted to confirm that actual action of how quickly I would need to leave sounds like it would be up to View at Estancia, my apartment complex. Is that correct?
I'd say that's an accurate, Miss Edwards. So the court doesn't take any action, right? Now that we've had the hearing, we won't involve ourselves. The landlord could come back and say, we haven't yet received possession. We'd like a writ of possession because the tenant hasn't moved. And the landlord, it's their option of when to do that within the 6 to 60-day deadline.
Okay, got it.
Certainly, reach out to Estancia. I hear a lot of parties say back after the hearing and the holidays, they may give you a sense of what is their plan, but just be aware that that's the timeline.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Good luck to you, Ms. Edwards. Thank you for
Yeah,
coming.
thank you, Your Honor.
All right. If there's no questions, all parties are excused.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is also a non-payment of rent, Your Honor. Monthly rent is $990. Back rent owed is October and November full months. December, I prorated at $606.77 for a total of $2,586.77. I believe this did fall under the CARES Act. They gave a 30-day notice to vacate on 10/15/2025.
All right. Any subsidy?
No, not that I saw, Your Honor.
Good morning, Ms. Sue. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning.
Ms. Weiss is here. I've only heard mentioned to a person before. Ms. Weiss represents lots of landlords. If you've never seen her, that's why.
Okay.
But she said Candace has indicated this case is a financial matter. So, Ms. Sue, is it correct that the monthly rent is $990?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And then you said for October, November, December, it remains unpaid. Is that also correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sometimes I understand it happens. I know. Well, Ms. Sue, with pardon me. Well, with that information, the landlord wins the case today. Can I answer any questions for you? I want to give you that information that we can.
For the applying for the free appeal, where would I find that online on that page that you showed at the beginning?
You can find
Okay.
it online. We will also, as part of the order, when we send out the order for evictions to both the plaintiff and the defendant, we give that information about appeal, and it's in both English and Spanish.
Okay, awesome.
So you'll get that. If you gave us your email when you checked in, you'll have that by the end of the afternoon.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Your Honor. I really appreciate it.
All right, well, let me give just a bit more information then. So today it's going to be a judgment for the plaintiff. We'll award back rent of $2,586. I'll set the appeal bond to be, well, we put it at twice the rent because it's from October, so it'd be $1,980. And Ms. Sue, Ms. Weiss, if you can't afford it, you might be able to do the affidavit of inability. The rent has to be paid. That's the $990. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Then if there's no questions, all parties are excused.
Thank you, Your
Thank
Honor.
you. Thank you,
Good
Your
luck,
Honor.
both of you.
The case was filed for non-payment of rent. I believe they have partial payment owed in September, full rent in October, full rent in November, and then 19 days in December. The full rent amount or monthly rent amount is $1,224. What is owed in September is $224. October 1224, November 1224, and then December 750 with 19 cents.
All right. Is there any subsidy?
No.
Is this a CARES property?
No.
And when was notice to vacate given?
It was given in sorry, I just took over the property, but let me look at the notice to vacate. It was given on November 5th of 2025.
Good morning, Ms. Jackson and Ms. Jackson. Thank you both for being here. The manager has told me that this case is a financial situation, so like the others I've heard today. Is it correct that the flat monthly rent is $1,224?
Yes.
Okay. And then she says that there was an outstanding balance of $224 for September, and then October, November, December remain unpaid. Is that also correct?
Yes.
All right, well, Ms. Jackson, with that information, like the others, their landlord meets their burden to win the case today. For this matter, I would put the appeal bond at twice the rent. It would be $24.48. And the judgment amount I calculate to be September is 224, 1224 for November, 1224 for October, and then I calculated $750 for the 19 days of December. Total amount owed $3,422. Ms. Jackson, for either of you, can I answer any questions about the information I've given today about the timeline or the appeal or the information we'll send all the parties?
Yes, I have a question. So in this packet I got, it says to order to pay $2,600 and something dollars. So if I pay that, will I still get evicted?
Ms. Jackson, legally, the landlord can do that, right? If you have not paid the rent on time as required by the lease, the landlord can not only evict you and win the case, they can ask you to pay and keep your money. So whether you want to do that is wholly up to in your decision there. But yeah, even if you pay, the landlord could say, thank you for paying. You don't have any money, but you cannot stay. We want you to leave.
Okay.
All right. That's a great question, Ms. Jackson. I hear that a lot. That doesn't mean they would, but legally they can.
Okay.
Right. So, but you can certainly reach out and talk to them about it. I hear all versions, and I could not tell you it all. I'm not familiar with this particular location. I think maybe they used to have a different name. All right. So the appeal bond's 2448. Right, we'll send you that information. No one does anything after 5 days. The judgment's final. That's the soonest the landlord can do the writ of possession.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
Nope.
All right. Thank you both for coming.
Across these cases, one theme is crystal clear. Non-payment almost always leads to possession loss, regardless of circumstances. Judges repeatedly explain appeal, bonds prorated rent, and the harsh truth that landlords can legally accept money and still proceed with eviction. These rulings highlight how narrow eviction court really is. It enforces timelines and balances, not personal stories. Whether you're a tenant or a landlord, understanding these rules can mean the difference between stability and displacement.
All parties to that matter are excused.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Almodovar, tell me about this case.
Rent for November is owed.
Okay.
And
It's a non-payment matter.
yes,
How much is the monthly rent?
$13.50.
All right. What months are unpaid?
November and the 19 days in December.
All right. Any subsidy on the rent?
No.
Not a CARES Act. So when was notice to vacate?
November 5th.
Good morning, Ms. Almanza.
Good morning.
Landlord's agent has told me this case is a financial situation. Is it correct that the monthly rent is $1,350?
Yes.
Okay. Is it correct that it's been remains unpaid for November and now December?
Yes. Correct.
Ms. Almanza, with that information, the landlord will win their case today. Can I answer any questions for you? If you've been listening to the locket, you might have heard some things. I'm always happy to clarify.
No, actually, no, I don't have any questions at the moment.
All right. I calculate the rent for December. I took $13.50 divided by 31, went it by 19. I got $827. So I'll put $827 plus the $13.50. It would be judgment for the plaintiff, $2,177. And then either party can appeal. The appeal bond will be 1 month of rent. That'll be $13.50.
Okay.
All right. If there's no
Thank-
questions, all parties are excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.